Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Pisceans, here we go. So, Pisces, I want to take a look at first off, how to celebrate the year of the fire horse. So, this could be an exciting year with a lot more energy to it than last year. Last year was all about shedding an old skin, right? This year is about galloping off and kind of like a bit of boldness, a bit of like high creativity, a bit more excitement, a bit more movement. So, with that in mind, let's just ask what's the big ticket item for the year of the fire horse for Pisces? We got the blank card. So that which is inside of Pisces is going to start to reflect in, Pisces external world. So basically, when we're living our authentic path, that's probably when the life that we really live is a life that complements who we truly are on the inside. Basically, I would say this is where we learn to say no to what we mean no to. This is where we mean to say yes to what we want to say yes to. And so our life actually shows up authentically. People know us really truly for who we are because we found a way to say, look, I can't agree with that, or look, I don't want to do that. And now everybody jokes and is like, oh, don't bother to ask Pisces. Pisces will not do that. That is not their thing. Pisces has announced, okay, I'll say this about me. I don't house sit for anybody. I won't. It's too stressful. Something terrible always happens. Pipes burst, you name it. And I am the person who feels so bad when things go wrong, even if it's not my fault. I'll still feel like it's my fault. And I can't handle the stress. So I won't house sit for anybody. And people now know not to ask me because I'm like, I can't. You don't understand. I can't sleep. I can't function. I'm too worried about your shit. I can't house sit. That is something that people come to accept when you learn to say no. I want to help you. I can't though. And those types of things, for whatever reason, that's one of those things. Now I'm so relieved once I made the decree, I can't do it. It's too stressful. Now everybody knows that about me. Nobody asks me anymore. It's fabulous. It's great when your real life lines up with who you are on the inside. And we have the strength card. So I'm just saying that as more of a humorous example. For Pisces, it's probably a much more beautiful and shining and courageous example of what their life is going to start to look like. This year of the fire horse for them is going to be about courageously choosing the bold move in what they really want in life. This could be a Pisces who's really going to stand up for what they believe in. This could be a Pisces who's, going to become like a wonderful orator or public speaker. This is somebody who could show great courage, master different things that have been scary things for them. They're probably not backing away from anything. They're probably stepping up, unlike me, who's running away from house sitting. But I would just say this is an amazingly courageous year for Pisces, but it's where they're supposed to be. I kind of feel like this Pisces is supposed to be a leader. Now I know Pisces is a very intuitive and dreamscape kind of zodiac, but we've got powerful Leo energy. So we have a 3 of Swords as well. I'm going to say there is a huge amount of like recovery after a tremendous heartbreak or anything that has been damaged in Pisces life. This is going to be the time where they completely overcome during this year of the fire horse. So it could be a year where Pisces, I hope, remembers to take some time and congratulate themselves because they look very brave, and the things that they're overcoming, the things that they're genuinely going to be able to put in their rearview mirror could be things that very few people could have handled. And yet Pisces has handled it with grace. So well done, Pisces. But this year is a triumphant year. So, I mean, no matter how difficult things have been for the Pisces, they are an absolute survivor. They're an absolute triumph. That is an amazing message. And talk about like a huge life turnaround as well. Okay, I want to go ahead and ask immediately about a gemstone mineral, something that might be, or precious stone that might be important. We have tanzanite. I got to say, this keeps coming out. Tanzanite has come out like for 3 zodiacs, and so too has the diamond. The tanzanite is about possibilities. So it says, tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. And sure enough, that fits nicely with what we saw here on the strength card, the wild and precious comment there, because we have, this wild and free spirited animal that is brave. And I love the fact that, perhaps this will be the year that, Pisces is drawn to or gravitating toward something like Tanzanite. They may not know why, but maybe it's because it represents something, exciting like that and something wild and free like that. Goddess in the flesh, thank you for being here. Nice to see you tonight, babe. Also, shout out to EM. I know you look forward to the Pisces videos, so I was thinking of you as I started this one tonight. All right, give me a little bit more here. Universe, what is I'll say a message to Pisces before we get into the topic of love and romance. We have Five of Swords, we have Knight of Wands. There is a gentle but firm message, meaning the universe isn't telling Pisces how to do stuff, but rather saying Pisces has every right to want to put up boundaries against people that would take their time, dilly-dally, be inconsistent. If something is bothering Pisces, if they feel like this, honestly, it gets my hackles up. I really hate the way something is coming in and out of my life. It's messing up my flow. It feels disrespectful, whether it's a person, whether it's, I do think that, to be respectful of people's time, to be respectful of people's hearts, to be respectful in general is really important. And of course, we disrespect each other all the time on accident. But if someone is habitually just out for themselves, or they're just in a very messy chapter of their life, Pisces may not want to deal with somebody like that. And the universe is just saying people that become chaos, agents of chaos in Pisces' life, Pisces does not have to put up with that. If it's making Pisces salty because somebody is, behaving like things don't matter that much to them, or worse, that Pisces isn't being valued with the way they're treating Pisces, the universe is just like, yeah, nobody likes that. Pisces doesn't have to put up with that, not at all. So boundaries, when something bugs us enough to make us say, wow, let me ask, why don't I like this? Okay, then what would I like to do about it? We go right back to that beginning where it's like Pisces is going to start speaking up for themselves about what their do's and their don'ts are, what their wills and their won'ts are. What do I actually think is okay and not okay? It doesn't matter. I mean, Pisces might get flack from somebody if they go, you know what? I really feel like your behavior is disrespectful to me. I feel like you're acting like a player. This person could be like, wow, aren't you hostile? And Pisces could just come back with, no, it's my time that you're trying to take. You're taking up space in my energy field at your whim, but that's not how this works. So my space, my decisions, and Pisces just might have a very, like a firm, but protective and gentle way to say, yeah, no, thank you. Now, it might be true that Pisces is feeling spicy about it and is feeling pissy about it, but they don't have to put up with it. And I just think that that's such a great, supportive message. You're not a jerk because you don't want somebody bouncing in and out of your life when it suits them. That's what I would say. That doesn't make Pisces the jerk. Pisces is allowed to have their boundaries. Pisces is allowed to feel the way something makes them feel too. So I don't know. I really like that supportive message on that. Okay, now let's turn our attention to the topic of love. You guys are so lovely. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Alicia on her path. Thank you, honey. Alicia on her path just gifted yet another membership. This time, Tarot by Nature, you are now a member, and that is courtesy of Alicia on her path. So of course, that means you can tap into the members videos now every Monday. I add a new members video, and also I kind of explain what we do in the members corner. So definitely, hopefully before next Monday, if you get a chance, click on the playlist and then scroll until you see the members playlist, and then you can check out those videos. The very first one that you'll find will be the most recent from this Monday, and then you can kind of participate in what we do in the members corner. Thank you so much, Alicia. So generous. Sunflowers Moon Power, great to see you. Marissa Smith, thank you so much for being here. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at love. So year of the fire horse, love for Pisces. What do we have? We have got an Ace of Swords in the reverse. We have the Six of Swords in the reverse. We have a Five of Pentacles in the reverse, but also the Ten of Cups in the reverse. All of this comes across like, because they all came out in the reverse, which is pretty unusual, it makes me think this is something in the past. Like this storyline fits together, right? This is something that already happened. This is something that was like, man, do I cut this out of my life or don't I? Do I allow this back in or don't I? And then it's like, nah, I got over it. It didn't make me happy. I don't see that that's necessarily what this year is going to be made up of for love. It doesn't mean that Pisces might not meet another person who kind of fits that scenario, because sometimes, we learn a lesson and then we get to practice the lesson. Like if we think about it in, like when we were in school, how teachers would teach us something and then, it was like, see it, say it, do it. They'd teach us something and then we'd kind of like explain what we're going to do. And then we'd practice doing it after it had been demonstrated to, gain proficiency. And it almost feels like that's how the universe is handling this, the topic of love. It's like, okay, Pisces learned a really big lesson about how to advocate for what they want. Now let's give Pisces a chance to test run it. Do you like something? Well, I don't know. I'm having a hard time deciding if I like this person, or if I like the way they treat me or not. I don't want to cut them out of my life, but it's kind of choppy waters and it doesn't seem to be getting much smoother. And we're not really finding common ground and we're not really learning how to communicate well. And honestly, this is going to sound terrible, but I think Pisces is going to say, hey, let me ask myself that $1 million question. If this person were no longer calling me, texting me, showing up in my life, would I feel like, oh man, I miss them so much? If the answer is no, it would be a sigh of relief, or no, because every time we do talk, it turns into chaos, then that might explain it. Yeah, they aren't my 10 of Cups. And now we can let it go and not look back. And so I do feel like Pisces might have a situation that comes up like that. And that could be one more practice run. That's not a disappointment though. It's we got a chance to kind of practice it. And obviously there's not any big heartbreak. So I don't mean to say somebody is not a valuable person, but I just don't think it's Pisces person. We have the Hermit. We have the Six of Wands, and we have the King of Cups, or excuse me, King of Crystals. So King of Pentacles in this deck. It's funny because we definitely see a couple of distinct movements forward. Pisces is going to find themselves totally single for a period of time. I'm feeling like this next chapter plays out like after eclipse season. But there's, Pisces is going to go solo for a bit and then probably get in the groove and feel, quite empowered and feel like, hey, I got my vibe back, got my energy back. And then they meet somebody who could be a really wonderful match for them. You notice he wears the Galaxy shirt. This could be somebody that shows up very serendipitously in Pisces' life. They could have a beard. They could be a silver fox, but they could be somebody that Pisces knows immediately. Like, this is almost freaky. I went through some crap. This is my year. I've been getting over it. Kind of either had a second run, but I more swiftly let somebody go because I recognized the red flags. And then I went solo for a while. And now speaking of red is a color of, in a more positive light, red is a color of love, passion, desire, creativity. And now we got Pisces intentionally wearing red and there's roses everywhere. And it's like, you know what? Right when I'm ready for a love story, that's when I meet somebody. It is like they are heaven sent. It is like the galaxy must have put me on this path to meet this person. This character could feel very familiar. You notice how he's standing there with his arms out like, oh my God, Pisces, what are the odds on seeing you? So this could be somebody that is like, I don't mean to say it could be an old flame. Sometimes people enter our lives as, that colleague, that coworker that we just adored, but it was friendship and it was colleagues. And then 20 years pass and you haven't seen that person. Then you bump into them one day and it's like, oh my God, our rapport was always there. But this time circumstances are different. This time we're both single. This time we're no longer, boss employee relationship. This time we could explore a whole different dynamic. Like that's more what this feels like. I would not be at all surprised if once Pisces like really has sunk their teeth into this new way that they'll do things where they won't tolerate things that are red flags. They won't, let something into their life that creates chaos or, stressful energy. Once they get that and they're really focused on saying, yeah, I'm not going to like allow that in my life anymore. That probably is why they're now on the path or the course has been set that they will likely meet somebody thereafter that is a really great match for them. This is a stable person. This is a grounded person. They could be an earth sign, so Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus. They may like grapes, green grapes, or maybe maybe they have a winery, or maybe they're just like some little fruit bat. They just love fruit. But those grapes are so visible to me on that it's just yelling at me. Grape eater. We have the moon. It's so crazy because I just think that somewhere in this year, the fire horse Pisces is going to be, on one hand, possibly dancing in the moonlight or, like the word lunatic, how the moon, creates this wonderful madness in the nicest of ways. I don't know, there's something about Luna, or maybe Pisces has a pet or something named Luna, or there's something about lunar. Maybe it's about the eclipses, but we see Pisces like really reveling in the fact that there's a lot of things that we don't know. But when we choose to operate from an authentic place in ourselves, our life path, even though we still can't always see all the twists and turns, our life path starts to have things align and fall into place because we are choosing the right steps. Just like, let's say how consistency with exercise and healthy eating yields like, wow, my body feels better. Maybe I'm losing weight and gaining muscle too, and endurance. And, it's the consistency of making the choices that are the best for ourselves that then yield an outcome for ourselves. And it's not that you see it every day, but those little steps that you choose that are true for you start to yield results. And that's what it looks like this year is going to be for Pisces. It's a kind of a slow, consistent improvement in Pisces' life, in their love story. That's really nice. That's really nice. I want to just ask, is there any other final message here? And then we'll bounce on out. And then I'm going to go over to Tarot Dog after this. We have got the Chariot upright. So it's definitely a year to listen to the divine, to make those moves in Pisces' own favor. Instead of thinking about it like, man, I got to figure everything out. It's like, no, these are the chess moves of my own life. The only person I'm playing against is me. So there is no losing. All it is that, I have to think about, do I want to do this? Or do I feel, guilted into doing this? Do I like this? Or am I allowing myself to be pressured into something? It feels like Pisces is going to only play the chess game with themselves of asking, I could do this, but do I really want to? Well, I feel like I should, but is it really your responsibility? Do you need to give somebody more of your time? If that's not authentic for you, how could you handle this differently so that it becomes authentic? And I feel like if Pisces follows that pattern, that's what's going to get them this year to like completely winning the game and really moving their life forward. That's an awesome message. You guys, thank you so much for being here. TK, you sweetheart. You know what? Let me get over to Tarot Dog. And if I still have some breath left after Tarot Dog, I will do Gemini tonight, okay? Otherwise, I'll do that first thing tomorrow. Miss Solo Dolo, Riptides, thanks again. Rachel Delaney, and again, thank you so much, Alicia on her path. That's so generous. And welcome, Tarot by Nature, Sunflowers, Moon Power, Marissa Smith, and Goddess in the Flesh. Thank you, guys. All right, I'll see you over on Tarot Dog.